What separates a philosophy that lives only in dusty textbooks from a philosophy that can help you survive a shipwreck, endure slavery, command an empire, or feast execution with absolute calm? What if Stoicism was never meant to be a collection of abstract theories, but a set of battle-tested rules for actual human beings living through real human chaos? Welcome to Book Essence, where we unlock the essence of every book, so you get the wisdom without spending weeks reading. Today, we are breaking down Lives of the Stoics by Ryan Holiday and Stephen Hanselman, a powerful journey through the real-world stories of the men and women who didn't just teach Stoicism, but lived it. Let us unlock it. To understand Ryan Holiday's approach in Lives of the Stoics, you have to begin with a fundamental realization that most modern readers miss. We often think of philosophers as academic ivory-tower intellectuals, sitting in quiet rooms arguing about words. But the ancient Stoics were nothing like that. They were merchants, politicians, generals, slaves, playwrights, and emperors. Holiday and Hanselman argue that Stoicism was never meant to be a noun, it was meant to be a verb. It was a practical, day-to-day discipline of action. The ancient Stoics didn't ask, what is the theoretical nature of reality? They asked, how should I act when I lose everything? How do I stay honest when politics gets dirty? How do I face pain, power, temptation, and death without breaking my character? By examining 26 historical figures over 5 centuries, Lives of the Stoics proves that character is not built in smooth waters, it is forged in storms. Philosophy is not measured by the eloquence of your words, but by the integrity of your actions under pressure. The ultimate test of Stoicism is not what you write in a journal, but how you live your life when everything goes wrong. The story of Stoicism begins not in a grand hall of learning, but in a devastating catastrophe. Around 300 BCE, a wealthy merchant named Zeno was sailing across the Mediterranean with a precious cargo of purple dye, the most valuable commodity of the ancient world. A sudden storm destroyed his ship, sinking his entire fortune to the bottom of the sea. Zeno arrived in Athens with literally nothing left to his name. Most people in his shoes would have been consumed by despair, grief, or bitterness. But Zeno walked into a bookstore, discovered the writings of Socrates, and decided that the destruction of his wealth was not an ending, but a new beginning. He famously remarked later in life, "Fortune done well to drive me thus to philosophy." Zeno went on to found the Stoic school, teaching on the open porch, the Stoa Poikile, in the public marketplace of Athens. Ryan Holiday highlights Zeno's life as the founding template of Stoic resilience, the ability to reframe unexpected disaster into redirection. A Stoic does not waste time cursing fate for taking away their plans. They immediately ask, what new opportunity does this loss create? If Zeno showed how Stoicism reacts to loss, Cato the Younger demonstrated how Stoicism stands up to corrupt power. Cato was a Roman senator who lived during the final chaotic days of the Roman Republic, facing the tyrannical rise of Julius Caesar. In a political environment dominated by bribery, opportunism, and cowardice, Cato stood out as an unshakable pillar of moral clarity. He refused bribes, wore plain clothes to mock political vanity, and stood alone in the Senate to defend democratic institutions against tyranny. When Caesar offered him pardons and compromises, Cato refused to compromise his principles by even a fraction. Cato proved that true freedom is not the ability to do whatever you want, but the self-mastery to do what is right, no matter the consequences. He embodied the Stoic belief that self-rule is the greatest empire a human being can ever conquer. Perhaps no life in the Stoic tradition illustrates the power of mental freedom better than Epictetus. Born as a slave in the brutal Roman Empire, Epictetus spent his youth in physical bondage, suffered physical abuse, and walked with a permanent limp for the rest of his life. Yet when Epictetus was eventually freed and began teaching, he became one of the most influential minds in human history. How did a crippled ex-slave achieve such profound inner peace? By refining what he called the dichotomy of control. Epictetus realized that his master could control his body, his movements, and his physical environment, but no master could ever own his mind, his values, or his choices. He taught his students that true slavery is not physical chains, but being enslaved to external outcomes, public approval, and fears. Ryan Holiday stresses that if an ancient slave living under absolute tyranny could find complete internal freedom, then modern humans, with all our privileges, have zero excuses to feel helplessly trapped by minor inconveniences. One of the most fascinating and complex biographies in the book is that of Seneca the Younger. Seneca was a brilliant essayist, playwright, and wealthy statesman who served as an advisor to the tyrant Emperor Nero. Seneca is often criticized because his life was full of contradictions. He wrote brilliantly about the evils of wealth while accumulating immense personal riches. He preached peace while trying to restrain a bloodthirsty maniac like Nero. Holiday and Hanselman do not excuse Seneca's compromises, but they present him as a deeply human figure struggling to apply Stoicism in the messy real world. Seneca shows us that practicing Stoicism is not about being a flawless saint, it is about staying in the arena. Even when caught in toxic corporate or political environments, Seneca kept striving towards virtue, using his pen to write timeless letters on managing time, fear, and anger. His ultimate test came when Nero ordered him to end his own life, and he faced death with the calm dignity of a true Stoic. When you look across all 26 lives presented in the book, from Zeno to Marcus Aurelius, Holiday and Hanselman show us that despite their vastly different backgrounds, every single Stoic was bound together by four core cardinal virtues. Courage, the bravery to face physical danger, political pressure, and daily fear without backing down from what is right. Temperance, moderation, the self-control to resist temptation, avoid greed, and master one's impulses in a world of endless excess. Justice, the commitment to fairness, duty, and serving the common good. To the Stoics, no individual virtue matters if it harms the community. Wisdom, the ability to navigate complex situations with reason, clarity, and deep understanding. These four virtues were not theoretical concepts to be debated, they were daily metrics. Whether navigating political betrayals, economic crashes, personal grief, or systemic corruption, the Stoics used these four virtues as an internal compass to guide every decision. Let us bring together the greatest lessons from Lives of the Stoics by Ryan Holiday and Stephen Hanselman. 1. Philosophy is defined by action, not words. What you believe matters far less than how you act when life tests your character. 2. Reframe your shipwrecks. Like Zeno, treat devastating setbacks not as the end of your story, but as a forced redirection to wisdom. 3. Protect your integrity at all costs. As Cato proved, self-mastery and standing for truth are far more valuable than temporary political or financial gain. 4. Live by the four virtues. Courage, temperance, justice, and wisdom are the ultimate pillars of a life well lived. Holiday and Hanselman close this magnificent book with a reminder that Stoicism was built by real people who bled, failed, struggled, and persevered. They were not born superhumans. They made a conscious choice every day to choose virtue over comfort. That choice is available to you today, right where you stand. That is the essence of Lives of the Stoics, and that is what we do here at Book Essence. We take the world's most powerful books and unlock their wisdom, so you can build something real, starting from exactly where you are. If this video brought you value, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs a reminder of courage and strength today. Every week on Book Essence, a new book, a new lesson, a new chance to grow. Until next time, keep reading, keep growing, and keep unlocking your essence. See you in the next one.